Welcome into the Farzy Show, presented by DestinationRetirement.com here at the Steven Singer Studios. My name is Marc Farzetta. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm laying the pavement. I'm smoothing it out. No potholes here, folks, for the return of Ben Simmons. Not only to just still be on the Sixers roster after the 3 p.m. trade deadline on Thursday, but to possibly come back because the pavement is being laid. The pathway is being opened up. Now, I still think it's highly unlikely that Ben Simmons ever plays another game for the 10-9-8 76ers again. However, look at this tweet. We're going to get into that game last night that was just absolutely crazy with the Sixers and the Phoenix Suns. But check this out from our friend Kyle Neubeck of Philly Voice. He asked Joel Embiid after the game last night, after the 114-109 loss to the Phoenix Suns, the best team in the NBA. He asked Joel Embiid, do you feel a responsibility to reach out to Ben Simmons if he's still here on Friday after the trade deadline? And then here's the long answer, and I'll show you it in a second. But he says, basically, it's the long way of saying, yes, Ben Simmons would be accepted back. Pavement being put down for Ben Simmons to come back. But no. Yes, he'd be accepted back. No, he's not going to reach out and be like, "Hi, come on, Ben, we're all friends. Don't you love me?" You know, he's not going to be like that. That ain't going to happen. But he's going to welcome him back because he knows, as he said the other day with Mike Missinelli, that they're a better team with Ben Simmons on it. And as I have been telling you, I don't think Ben Simmons gets traded by the trade deadline. I don't think he gets traded by the time the 76ers and the NBA have the deadline at 3 p.m. on Thursday. I just don't see it happening. I don't see the worlds coming together where James Harden is all of a sudden beautifully available at the right price, and the right price, as far as I'm concerned, the best price for the Sixers would be the idea of trading Ben Simmons and Seth Curry to the Brooklyn Nets in return for James Harden. That would be poetry. That would be beautiful. The other idea is to maybe move on from Tobias Harris as well. And I know his name has been floated out there on a couple other trade destinations, a couple other trade deals. And that's the hot topic right now surrounding the Sixers. But here is the rest of the quote. Now, I just showed you this tweet right here from Kyle Neubeck saying that basically Joel Embiid would not take it upon himself to reach out to Ben and be like, "Hey, welcome back, brother. I love you. You're the best. Welcome back, brother. I love you. The best." Like, it wouldn't be like that. But what it would be is more like this. Now, here's the long answer, once again, from our friend Kyle Neubeck. Now, just focus on the first paragraph here. There's 3 paragraphs on the screen for those listening on the Farzy Show podcast. But listen to this. This is what Joel Embiid had said. Like I've been saying since the season started, I'm happy. Whoever wants to play is welcome. If someone wants to play, they're welcome. But we've got guys who want to be here that show up every single night. I don't know what other type of word I can use, but I get paid to get results and to win games. I don't get paid to babysit Tyrese Maxey. I get paid to challenge him and to try to help him win games and have him help me win games. So translation, and you can see the rest of the quote right there. And I'll leave it up for a second. Translation, if Ben wants to come back, I got to play by my rules. He's got to play by Joel Embiid's rules. If you want to come back, then I'm going to be the same guy I've been all season, the same guy I've been throughout my career. That's the guy taking responsibility for how good this team can be. Because I know we all jumped to this and we got into it yesterday on yesterday's show. When it comes to Joel Embiid and what he had to say about Ben Simmons after they lost to the Hawks in the playoffs, he not only talked about Ben Simmons, and that was the turning point of the game. He talked about Matisse Thybulle missing a free throw. He talked about his own turnovers. He talked about how he wasn't healthy and all that other stuff. Like, it wasn't just about everybody else. It was also about him. He made it about him in terms of not just how great he is, but also the mistakes that he made in that series. And as I mentioned, 16 turnovers in the last 2 games of that series, that's not something that he could shy away from. That's something that he's got to own, he's got to acknowledge, and he did. Everybody needs to be held accountable. So, Ben, if you do want to come back, realize that's what you're going to be coming back to. Now, if you're asking me whether or not Ben Simmons is ever going to play for the 76ers again, my answer is nope. A very emphatic, very confident nope, and that shouldn't be breaking news to anybody. But I find it interesting that the groundwork, the pavement, is being laid in the event that Ben Simmons does, in fact, come back to the Sixers. If he is here after the trade deadline, which I still very much think he will be, if he is here, it's open. It's open for discussion. Now, he wouldn't be getting the best version of Ben Simmons as he would be coming back to a team after he needs to get in official game shape, and it would be just in time for a playoff run. And we all know in the playoffs, Ben Simmons, not so good. Not so good. But I think it would help his trade stock. It would certainly help the Sixers out a lot at this point. But let's get into some of those trade things before we get into the game itself last night, because I know that's what's on everybody's mind. Unfortunately, they lost to the Suns, as I mentioned. But Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Tristan, my. The Sacramento Kings take the Indiana Pacers deal and get Justin Holiday as well as Domantas Sabonis in return for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. The Kings liked what the Pacers had more than what the Sixers had with Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris or anybody, really. They liked what the Pacers were offering more so than the Sixers. I don't know what the Kings are doing, but every year they just seem to blow themselves up, and I'm fine with that. But I'm more fine with that when it's like Sam Hinkie fleecing Vlade Divac. And unfortunately, those days are very much over. But that was the deal. So as everybody knows by now, that deal is no longer on the table for the Sixers. We knew the Sixers weren't really in the running for that anyway for the last couple of weeks. So that's where we are right now. CJ McCollum off the table. Yesterday goes to the Pelicans. They have some kind of crazy deal going on. Josh Hart then goes to the Portland, and you have the CJ McCollum going to the Pelicans. So they're just trying to get shooters galore with guys like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. So that's their deal. CJ McCollum no longer available. And my number one guy, simply because I thought you were going to be able to get the most even value, guy for guy, if you will, Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal and other things mixed in. Not happening. Bradley Beal now done for the season, getting the surgery. He will no longer play. So obviously the Sixers are not going to be trading for him anytime soon. So now where does that leave us? That leaves us right now going, James Harden, please, sir, please come to Philadelphia. I just don't see it. I'd love for it to happen. I just don't see it, especially if the deal is Simmons and Curry for James Harden. Then how was that not already done, as I was saying yesterday? I'm still very much on that kick. Now, James Harden missed his third straight game last night with that bad hammy. Interesting. The Nets lost their ninth straight game last night to the Celtics. Interesting. Matisse Thybulle did play last night, and he started for the Sixers. And I know some people were speculating that him not playing because of the shoulder injury was somehow connected to James Harden also not playing. Could Matisse Thybulle also be in the mix with the James Harden deal? Possible. But he did play last night. Matisse Thybulle played last night. Started for the Sixers, as a matter of fact. So that's where we're at right now. As far as any idea with James Harden, we're still waiting to see if that gets worked out. The two sides, according to Brian Windhorst, it's very much out in the open. It's very much being discussed right now, but it's not at the point where anything looks imminent, unfortunately, for the Sixers. Now, where does that leave us in terms of who could be coming to the 76ers? Well, a bunch of names that are not going to impress you. A bunch of George Hill-esque names. And Daryl Morey's already on record by acknowledging that the George Hill deal to leave the second unit off the bench last year did not exactly work for the Sixers, and that is not really earth-shattering to any 76ers fan that followed that deal and followed how it actually worked. At the time, you're like, all right, point guard off the bench, you're on the second unit, good to go. Didn't work. But this time around, you're going to be looking at names, and this is just from what I gathered from other people's reports and all that stuff. Ty Jerome, guard out of OKC. Chance to come to Philadelphia, bench player. Corey Joseph, guard with the Pistons right now, 30-year-old veteran, another bench guy, could come off the bench to help you run your second unit in the event that Tyrese Maxey is not available to play, all 48 minutes of a game, which we all know he's not. So that's what we're looking at right now, outside of anything James Harden. So whoop-de-doo. That's where we're at. There's other options out there, but those are the two most common names I've been seeing. Daryl Morey, the ball is in your court. Halliburton would have made this team better. Buddy Hield even would have made this team better. Not that I'm saying that's the guy they got to trade Ben Simmons for by any means, but Halliburton and Hield certainly make this team better right now. And let's not forget, without Ben, if you're whoever you trade away from this team right now, along with Ben Simmons, you're instantly making this team better. McCollum would have made this team better. Now, no way in hell were you going to be trading Ben Simmons for C.J. McCollum, not without a whole slew of other things coming back in return. That would have been an even trade for the Sixers. And the other deal, Bradley Beal, that's just shot dead in the water right now because of Beal's season-ending surgery. So we cross our fingers and we wait for news about James Harden. We cross our fingers to see if the Sixers make any move. I still think they make a move. At this point, I think it's going to be to bolster their bench. And after they lost last night, Doc Rivers took to the podium after the game, took to the microphone after the game, rather, and said this team needs a guard. And I think everybody agrees with that. They need somebody out there because I can't see Furkan Korkmaz bring the ball up anymore. I don't even want Tobias Harris bringing the ball up anymore. Seth Curry, fine as de facto, but I don't need him bringing up the ball. And as much as I love that part of versatility of Joel Embiid's game, I'm good. Don't really need that either. There's some other news out there as well that Paul Reed, B-Ball Paul could be moved. Some other guys as well. So there's a bunch of other stuff that's out there as far as what the Sixers could be doing to bring in more talent. They definitely need another guard. I 100% agree with Daryl Morey's probably saying the same thing, but I 100% agree with what Doc Rivers had to say after the game last night. They do need a guard. You know what else they need? And this is what a guard will help with. Now we'll get into that Sixers loss to the Suns. Let me just start off by, when I talk about the game, let me just start by saying, let me just get this cliche out of the way. There are no moral victories. All right? There's no moral victories. But there's positives you could take away from the game. And there's a measuring stick game. As I was saying yesterday, it's a measuring stick game. Anytime you go up against the best team in the NBA, how good are you? Well, apparently the Sixers were good enough to be 14 points up on the best team in the NBA before they squandered that away. So that was a tough one. The fact that they're up 14 points is still good. And then you see, for about a 4-minute stretch, Matisse Thybulle, okay. Furkan Korkmaz, okay. Andre Drummond, all right. On the court at the same time. I'm not going to kill Glenn Doc Rivers over that because those guys were going to get it at some point, especially when Seth Curry was shooting 1 for 9 in the game and 1 for 6 from beyond the arc. Picked a hell of a time to actually hit his first three, and that was late in the game. Late in the closing minutes of the fourth quarter, actually. So that was nice, but I would have liked to have him a little bit more throughout. Tyrese Maxey had 14 points for you last night. 15 turnovers. That led to 27 Phoenix Suns points. Here's what we all know: the Sixers needed another point guard, another guard, and certainly that will help cut down the turnovers. But you know what? The best team in the NBA doesn't need more chances. You know what? You shouldn't give the best team in the NBA more chances. And when you give them 15 more chances than they should have, when you give them 15 turnovers, and you give them 27 points, you're not going to win that game. No matter how close it was down the stretch, you're not going to win that game. And some of the most mind-numbing turnovers in this game, one was a result of Tobias Harris just not knowing where he was on the court. Chris Paul, make sure I get this right in the game here. Chris Paul goes to the line, misses his free throw. It falls in the hands. It was a 2-point game at that time. It falls in the hands of Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris then allows the ball to get swiped out of his hands by Crowder. The ball, by the way, it wasn't just Tobias Harris. It was 3 Sixers under the basket. Neither one of them could come up with the loose ball after it was swiped away by Crowder. It then finds its way to Chris Paul at the top of the key, strokes the 3 Sixers. Next thing you know, they're down 4 points. Like, that's abysmal. That should never happen. And then 20 seconds left in the game, Sixers down 3. Joel Embiid, believe he got a rebound in this situation, starts dribbling the ball up the court a little bit. Tyrese Maxey's booking it to the rim. I'm thinking, is he going to try to hit Maxey on a long toss there? A nice touchdown pass? No, he instead to go cross court to Seth Curry, who he then throws the ball over Seth Curry's outstretched arms, out of bounds, goes the other way. No real Sixers chance after that. Toby needs to secure that ball with about 3:30 left in the game, down a point. And Joel Embiid can't have a turnover like that. And also Joel Embiid with the time ticking off the shot clock, put up like a prayer of a 3, off balance 3 that he hit the corner of the backboard on the opposite side of where he was shooting from, way too strong. And that was just a bonehead play by Joel Embiid. Should have found somebody else if he was that off balance. And I think he had enough time on the clock to be able to do that as well. But he forced it, and it ended up not going the Sixers' way. But Embiid had another 30-point performance last night. Tobias Harris had a 30-point performance. He's now averaged 22 points per game over his last 11 games. That's great to see from Toby. But he also had 4 turnovers last night, including that turnover when Crowder swiped that ball away from him. So Definitely a tough loss to swallow. Good measuring stick game, but ultimately the Sixers failed. And when you're playing the best team, you can't give them 15 more opportunities to outdo you like they did in that game. And I know a lot of people will pile on Doc Rivers for his rotations and how much time Furkan Korkmaz got and all that. If there was a game to excuse some of that, it would be this game when you consider how much Seth Curry was struggling from the field in this game and how much the team turned the ball over 15 times. It's just unbelievable to me. Maxey had himself 5 for 16 from the floor was Maxey last night. He's had better shooting games. And after, of course, I praise him for hitting a couple of threes in a game, he goes 0 for 4 from beyond the arc last night. So that was a tough one. On a personal note, I missed a 5-leg parlay by 1 point. 1 point. And that was Tyrese Maxey. I had him to get 15 points. He got 14. Damn the officials for not calling at least 1 and 1 with Tyrese Maxey. So that's where we're at right now with the Sixers. And you know what? If you do want to rip Doc Rivers, folks, look at this. I mean, how can you? Doc Rivers is one of the top 15 all-time NBA coaches, according to the NBA, and their celebration of 75 years in existence. Red Auerbach tops off the list. I guess this is in order of importance. Red Auerbach's number 1. Larry Brown's number 2. Chuck Daly, number 3. Go on down the list there. Red Holtzman is right there. Phil Jackson, KC Jones, Steve Kerr is all the way up there. Don Nelson. Pop is all the way down this list. What? Jack Ramsey, Dr. Jack Ramsey. Pat Riley, you see Doc Rivers, so 2 Sixers coaches on there, Jerry Sloan, Eric Spoelstra, and Lenny Wilkins. That's the list. 2 Sixers coaches on here. Surprised to see Brown as high as he was with 1 championship. Chuck Daly, we all know, won the 2. And then Phil Jackson, just this whole slew of championships, ridiculous. I mean, Red Auerbach's the no-brainer, but Pop being down that far on the list, I would put Pop ahead of Steve Kerr, no doubt about it. Definitely not above Phil Jackson, but above Steve Kerr. Recency bias. Anyway, that was the list that came out yesterday, but Doc Rivers down there. How about that? Would you ask Pop that question? It's the first thing I thought when I saw that actually came out. Sixers back in action Friday night. So I tweeted this out after the Sixers lost last night. That could be the last time that the Sixers play a game with that constructed lineup. And let's hope that it is. This is all on Daryl Morey at this point. One thing I don't want him to do is rush to a trade with Ben Simmons. And I know you could say, well, it's the deadline. How is it rushing? Well, if he waits till the summer to try to make a move, maybe that puts Ben Simmons in a much better light for another organization because he'll have the whole offseason to be ready. He'll know what he's doing. He'll know where he's going. He'll know who he's playing with. And maybe that will behoove the Sixers more, and that's maybe where they could get more in a return on a trade for Ben Simmons. Right now, it might be rushed. And the fact that the Halliburton deal didn't come through, the fact that no other deal has come through to this point, like this isn't breaking news. If you wanted to move on from anybody, you knew you kind of wanted to do that even well before the trade deadline. Now, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I am trying my damnedest to see if I can make all this come together right now with Kyrie Irving on a part-time basis, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. I'm at least going to give this one more go with my big 3 to see whether or not they can do it. I'm not going to pack it in just yet. But man, if you're the Nets in the future and you're looking at Ben Simmons on your roster with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving shooting the lights out, and you got Ben Simmons as your facilitator, Ben Simmons as your dunker, quote unquote, Ben Simmons as your facilitator or defender, that's a pretty nice lineup there. That's a pretty nice lineup for the Nets. Do I fear it? A little bit. But James Harden and Joel Embiid on the floor at the same time, that's a dangerous combo right there, and I think we all know how good that could be for the Sixers team. And I can't say it enough. If you are really going to make a move and you're going to bring in James Harden and you don't have to give up Tyrese Maxey and you don't have to give up Matisse Thybulle, then, man, Daryl Morey, you are a brilliant human being. And as I've been saying for a long time, I feel like this deal with Harden is almost like below Daryl Morey. I know it should be the great expectation of Daryl Morey, but I almost feel like it's almost too obvious. Like there's a better deal out there that we're not even thinking about yet that Daryl Morey will pull off somehow magically, and the Sixers won't give up nearly as much as people think. Show me that brilliance, Daryl Morey. Because right now with Ben Simmons, you have the last chip of the process. I was talking about this yesterday with some people. You have the last chip to push into the middle of the table on the process, and that's Ben Simmons. Whatever he does with this chip will dictate the future of this franchise and whether or not the process was worth it. And I do know people that look at it already and go, oh, you got Jamal Embiid, process was a great success. No. You still haven't evolved past the point that you were at prior to the process, which was getting past the Game 7 of the NBA playoffs, the semifinals. You have not gotten past Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. You got to Game 7 against the Celtics with Andre Iguodala and those guys before the process ever started. Then you took a year and you were terrible. You fired Doug Collins. You brought in Sam Hinkie. He then brought in Brett Brown like 20 minutes before the season started. And then the process really began. Drew Holiday was traded. We all know the history lesson. There you go. But the Sixers haven't gotten past that point yet. Ben Simmons is the last chip to that puzzle that you could put in the middle of that table. And you could say, all right, here we go. I'm cashing this one in. You cash it in for James Harden. You better get yourself to a championship. You better provide this great city with a parade. It's the last chip. And if that doesn't get cashed in, well, and you end up failing, and this ends up being the wrong move, and James Harden only ends up being a $40 to $50 million bust down the line when he signs another contract here with Philadelphia, and then you see Joel Embiid's skills start to dwindle as time goes on, then it'll all be a bust. It'll all be a bust. But it all comes down to what Daryl Morey does, either at this trade deadline or what he does overall with Ben Simmons and Ben Simmons' future. And that's where we are. Sixers back in action Friday night against OKC in South Philadelphia. Flyers back in action for the first time in over a week from the All-Star break. MVP Claude Giroux will lead the Flyers back on the ice at the Wells Fargo Center tonight, Wednesday night. By the way, I'm not live today, folks. Sorry, I waited a little too long to tell you that. Not live tonight. But Flyers back in action Tuesday night against Wednesday night against the Red Wings, 7 o'clock puck drop in South Philadelphia. I mentioned Toby's on the table for all trades. I mentioned the coaches. And that's what you got from me today, folks, on the Farzy Show, presented by the amazing people at DestinationRetirement.com. Mike Seibert. You got to look up Michael Seibert. You got to check him out, guys. RICP. He's a financial advisor for Eagles fans only. Yeah, you heard me right. Eagles fans only. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, DestinationRetirement.com. Punch it in. DestinationRetirement.com is a full-service planning firm and an affiliate of 1847 Financial. Let him create a written financial plan for your accumulation years and your distribution years. With pensions few and far between, you're on your own when it comes to retirement with only a 401k or an IRA. So let Mike help you turn those assets into efficient income streams that you can't outlive, because that's the name of the game. Mike Seibert is here to help you put a plan in place to help you retire, or if you're already in retirement, a plan that helps you alleviate people's biggest fear, running out of money. Come on, Eagles fans, with stock market volatility and taxes probably only going up, you need someone as your financial head coach with the experience to tackle these obstacles. With over 30 years in the financial game, Mike Seibert is an all-pro, a seasoned veteran when it comes to helping Eagles fans get to and through retirement. You can reach Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035, or visit DestinationRetirement.com. That's DestinationRetirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how prepared you are for retirement. Mike will get back to you and talk to you about how he can help. And as always, go Birds. Let me tell you about my friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Valentine's Day. Are you ready? Are you ready for Valentine's Day? I know I'm ready for Valentine's Day. Monday, by the way, folks. Do I need to do it again? Do I need to try this? Look at that. Oh, my goodness. Coming right through the screen. Here, give this to your lovely missus. No, that one's mine. Anyway. That's an Emerald City Gold Dip Rose, 24-karat gold dip rose from Steven Singer Jewelers. This magical Emerald City rose will take her breath away this Valentine's Day as she opens that beautiful gift box to reveal a real rose encased in brilliant 24-karat gold set against stunning deep green petals. Don't leave her green with envy. She sees her friend's presents. What'd you get her? That's something not so good? Come on. Step it up with a 24-karat gold dip rose from Steven Singer Jewelers. Get them before they're gone, exclusively and only at Steven Singer Jewelers. It's the #1 gift this Valentine's Day. Steven's famous gold dip roses start at just $59, and they come with a lifetime guarantee. Fast and free shipping for this Valentine's Day. Real roses from a real jeweler, Steven Singer Jewelers. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about the amazing people of Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30 locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Go to RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the people of WinView? It's the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who knows more about sports? Have that friend or family member who think they know everything about sports, blah, 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 bloobity, blah. Challenge them to a WinView contest to see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. Want to break up the monotony at any family dinner or get-together? Maybe Valentine's Day, you're bored. Challenge a friend to a WinView contest. See how they do. Maybe they're out on a date and you're not. Challenge them to a WinView contest. While they're distracted, win some money. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy, but it's a social gaming app where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who knows more? And win real money prizes on making predictions on the games that you love so much. How about PHL Sports Nation? Follow all that's going on in the Philadelphia sports world with PHL Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Thanks for joining the show today, everybody. Much appreciated from the Steven Singer Studios. This is the Farzy Show, brought to you by Destination Retirement and our good friend Mike Seibert and DestinationRetirement.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Tomorrow, Wednesday, today, the time we air this, let's see, we got 2 more days, Thursday and Friday, back of my paternity leave, so we'll get back to our regular scheduled programming in the not-too-distant future. So I look forward to that. Thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program, did a phenomenal job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Ladies and gentlemen, Godspeed. Godspeed. Thursday trade deadline. Maury, work something out. Give us another day full of many reports that hopefully involve the Sixers this time around. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.